Hello and welcome to my video review on Transformers Legacy haslab Victory Saber. Now here he is in his packaging, and we of course see Star Saber and Victory Leo on the side here, and they look gorgeous in this artwork, the cell shaded things with these sharp black outlines. And we have a little red outline of a Victory Saber. And on the side we have Transformers. On the back, of course, we have him as a product shot, and on the other side we have other things and stuff. And I'll get this guy opened. It's just one sleeve that comes off. We'll see how this goes because this thing is massive. So I'm just gonna lie it on its side here, like so, and this just slides right out. And for when you have it all done, you have the sleeve, and the sleeve, you can open this up, and it reveals an awesome artwork or a secondary thing here that you could do for the box. So you have artwork of them here. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Obviously, it's probably something bad. And then we also have more product shots on what he can do. So if you want that as a background for your box, you can just invert that. Next, we get a beautiful artwork poster that is cardboard of him in the same artwork that's on the front of the box. And we also get the two side guys, which I forgot the name, Holly and Fire. And then we have Deathsaurus, and I'm probably not going to get him for a while if I will ever get him, because he has a lot of money, and I spent way too much money on this, getting this second hand, because I did not back it, because I didn't have the money at the time to back this. So I had to spend a pretty penny on this set for sure. Alright, and of course you have an instruction manual, and we have more gorgeous artwork, and they just didn't shy away from the artwork. Just a lot of art in this. And this book is not a fold-out, or it is a fold-out. It's not an actual book, which would have been nice, but still, it's pretty sizable because this guy can do a lot, and it doesn't really truly show everything off in the instructions. Now looking up top here, where we have not all the accessories, but most accessories. The only thing I want to point out here is when you're taking out these cannons, do not try and take it out by this front red piece here, because you can snap the red piece. How do I know that? I did it on mine. That kind of pissed me off right away, and I'm like, ah, crap. But it was super easy to fix. I just glued it, and you can't even tell. But what I like to do is just kind of come from the base and rip it off. And removing this layer, we can get to the fun stuff. All right, and looking in here, we have Star Saber, Victory Leo, and of course Holly and Fire, although I already reviewed those guys. And we have all of the rest of the accessories, including this awesome, huge fusion cannon, which is absolutely ginormous. I mean, there he is next to Star Saber. It's just absolutely huge. This is Victory Leo's weapon. I don't know why it's on his side when it's his weapon, but anyway. Also, we have the gun for Star Saber, but today we will only be looking at Victory Leo. Now we have Victory Leo out of the box. We can take a look at his accessories. Of course, as I mentioned before, we have this giant cannon, which I know there's a name for it, but I don't know it. I forgot it, mainly. Anyway, this thing's pretty cool because you have these little fold-down panels, so you can have, like, armor where you would hold the handle so your hand would be protected. So that's nice. And the handle can fold up, revealing this little port here. Or not port, but little clip, which can be a problem, which I'll show later on. And we have this other one that can fold down, which I think is for when Star Saber holds it, it slots into his elbow, so you kind of fill in that whole gap, and it locks in really nice. And of course, you have that beautiful red stripe going down the end, and a different cast of plastic for the barrel, which kind of reminds me of a Gundam-esque, which, of course, this is heavily Gundam-inspired Transformer, which is kind of cool. Because I do like Gundams, I do like Transformers, but I've never gotten into this show yet, Victory. I just never got on to watching it, neither did I get around to watching the Japanese Headmasters. So I'm not really aware of what this stuff's called, or any references to the shows. I just bought the figure because it looked cool, honestly. And I don't really care about the character too much. I just really like the look of the character itself. And we have two of these that are identical. They are his cannons here, and they are picked out in a gorgeous white that is painted. I don't know what color this barrel originally is. Kind of looks like black, but this red here and this white are both painted. The end tip is what I broke off. This is a different separate piece, and this is casted in red. And then we have this black handle here, and it kind of clicks out. It's like ratcheted almost, and has a little click. That's super nice. And there's just a black 5mm port. And this kind of goes with both of them, but we basically just have Jetfire's accessories, which I've already gone over in my different video. But they're this cool translucent greenish blue, which look awesome. Now getting into him himself, he has obviously got this beautiful chrome here. Now mine, fortunately, has no problems with Victory Leo, but on Star Saber, there's a few little marks on it, but that's really typical with this. The quality control on these guys is not great, although that's pretty much my only problem with them. All my joints and everything are super tight. Everything works great. Like these don't pop out that much when I'm rotating them. There's a lot of other QC issues that I've seen other people have, but mine doesn't have that, which is super fortunate for me, especially getting this second hand. And I can say after someone playing with this thing and me playing with it, it holds up over time. At least I don't know how much they played with it. They could have just like took it out of the box once and put it back in. I don't know. But for the most part, it held up for sure. Now, the only big problem I have with this is the sticker here. I don't know why they didn't paint it, but it's kind of cool, like a G1 homage to the stickers. So if you look at it that way, it's not too bad. But when you open this wing up, there's no painted section here where this is painted because it's kind of hollow. So that's where the sticker can't get to, and it's kind of where my problem is. The sticker, it looks fine enough. And the sticker was pre-applied before I did it, so if a sticker looks bad or really good, it's not me. Anyway, but they could have painted this, and it would have looked a lot nicer. But since it's a sticker, you can't really put a sticker over this because there's no way for it to adhere, so it just looks like crap. But anyway, nothing me talking about this figure. He looks gorgeous. Now let's get into articulation. So at the head, it's on a ball joint, but it's so thick you can't really get much wiggle wobble, but it does do a little bit. Of course, we have a rotation here, and it cannot really look up and down like at all. You could use the transformation joint, but that just looks so goofy. And of course, his face is just painted in a beautiful white and some sky blue eyes that just pop out of his face, and it looks really nice and pretty stern and serious. The arms here, they are on a swivel, so they can do a full 360. They go out just under 90 degrees. We have a great single jointed bend. That's like one of the best single jointed bends I've ever seen on a Transformer. That is great. We also have bicep rotation. We have a wrist rotation, although it's super duper tight on mine, which is nice. I like having that nice and tight, but almost a little too tight on mine, and it kind of snaps in places where it's really hard. Like if I'm trying to turn it out that way, it likes to get stuck, but if I'm turning it in this way, it's a lot easier. But that might just be my copy. I don't know, how, maybe something with how the mushroom pegs casted, but nonetheless, it's a-okay. Now for the legs, we can kick up about 90 degrees, and we have a beautiful ratchet. It sounds so good. And you can go back about that far, bring it out to the side, and you can bring it back even further, especially if you unhinge this part. This side is a little worse for me, but I can easily bend it in and out without it breaking the joint there. So that's not too much of a problem, especially on this arm or this leg. I can easily do it. This one, it might undo here and there, but it holds together just fine. Speaking of that, he can do not the full spreads, but you can use that joint if you want to. It looks like crap if you do it, but you can get that out as far as you would like. And we have a 90-degree bend here, but if you untab the transformation joint here, we can get just over 90. Now let me just bring that back. It's just a little tab that goes in. Now at the feet, they're a little weird. I don't know if I folded them out right, because you do have to fold them out. They're not folded out in the box. So if I didn't have them folded out right away, that's my fault. I just took it out of the box again. So I may have forgot to do that. I don't remember. But at the feet here, we don't have any like ankle pivot or anything on the foot, but we do have a little toe pivot, so it can give that illusion, and it works just fine. And of course, we have a lot of up movement because of the transformation. But like if you're trying to get him on an A stance, like it holds it fine, and it does offer a little bit more support. You're not just supporting it on just that thin little piece here, but his leg is chunky enough to where it holds it just fine. Now for accessories with this guy, to complete the look, we can make sure we have these all the way plugged in, but we can bring these and put these on his back like he has it in the cartoon, I believe, or just how it's meant to be done. And we can have these just fold over the top and just go blasting away, and that looks absolutely epic. How cool does that look? But that is not the only thing you can do with these, because they of course are 5mm port, so you can put them on the sides and kind of act like a Starscream null ray kind of thing, which looks pretty cool. You can't really get him to hold it in his hand because the tab's just not long enough and the sculpt doesn't really allow for it. I mean, you can get it in there, it just doesn't hold whatsoever, so I never do it. But you can get him doing some more banging poses that would just shoot everything in its path. Like, these cannons look like they can do something. And especially talking about cannons that look like they can do something, of course, we got this giant cannon here. And what I like to do sometimes is just keep the turret or the handle out like this and kind of have it like he's just resting the gun on the floor, because that just looks awesome. I feel like this looks cooler just have him holding it like this than it is to have it up and over his shoulders. But we can also, of course, put it on his shoulders too. So just get that tag in there, which is kind of tight, which is nice. And you can get him to shoot this absolutely massive cannon that just looks awesome. Yeah, and if you want to, you can get him to hold it on both hands, although it's a little tricky. You kind of have to like pivot the thing this way. It's a little challenging. And then kind of get it over, and you can kind of get him to hold it with two hands or whatever. So that option is there if you want it. And that's probably enough for this mode. So next we will bring him into his lion mode, and to do that we're just gonna start with his head here, and we're gonna bring down this little black panel. Now be very careful with this black panel. I've seen images online of this snapping on people, and it is tight out of the box, but once you do it a few times and make sure you're doing it right, it's just fine. But make sure you're grabbing not out by here. You want to grab as close to the base as possible and really just guide it along, so you make sure you have no chance of snapping it. Next, we're going to want to bring down these little tusks, and if you want to, you can bring out the mouth right away, and you have those gorgeous white painted teeth that really pop out of that yellow, and we have the mouth that is painted red, which looks amazing, and those beautiful blue eyes. And of course, we can fan out these beautiful main parts to really get that lion look. Now, for the arms, they're really simple, and you don't even have to do this next step, but I like to do it. Just rotate the wrists, and that way they look a little bit better when they're hidden away. And then we can just bring up the arms and configure them however you like, and they kind of have this natural curve kind of pose to it once it's bent correctly. Now I forgot to bring this up, but you're going to want to bring this down. The easiest way to do it, I found, is to open this up and get a finger in the corner of it and just bring it down. It comes out pretty easy. Usually you have this folded up for robot mode. I forgot to. And of course he doesn't have a waist swivel because he does come into two parts. So also you can push these feet up while you're at it. But there's no waist swivel or ab crunch, but that is completely understandable considering the design of this figure. You're not going to get that without some major sacrifices. So just leave that down. Make sure these are tabbed into place. And for the legs, we're just going to untab them like this and then bring them in. So just on double hinge, and make sure they're all the way in, and then it should close back up. If they're not all the way in, it might struggle to close all the way, so just make sure that is all the way folded up. And then we can push that in and close up the legs, and then rotate around the legs here. And as you can see, there's like little tabs, and then there's like a little track this one pin follows. And once you get it into place, make sure you can bring these out too so that it doesn't get in the way. You'll hear a little click, like right there. And it clips right into place where it's the most natural pose, which is pretty cool. Also, I forgot to mention, before you put these together, there are little pieces right here that act as a tail. These are the connecting joints for Victory Saber and robot mode. Anyway, we can go to this side too, bring his leg around, untab the foot, and there we are. There we have him in his lion mode. Now, this thing looks absolutely awesome. It's interesting, to say the least. It's a space lion that's black, or white, and yellow, and red. It's just weird. Victory was weird, but of course you can still add all the guns to him too. And here's where I have one of my first problems with this figure, is the tolerances and connections. And what I mean by that is the accessories or the combinations. They hold in nice, which I do appreciate, but they are a pain to disconnect, or sometimes connect, like in this case. So there's a clip here, but there's also a peg, so you can't just slide it over because that peg's can get in the way. So what you have to do is, I'm gonna remove these first. Is you have to like turn it in and then like rotate it, and it's just a pain to get done right. Or you have to come to the side and really push on it and then get it in, and it tabs in just fine, but it is a pain in the butt to get on, especially at first, and it doesn't get much better with some other connections in this figure. But there he is with all of his accessories on, and he is ready to do some destruction to those nasty Decepticons, because oh my gosh, those cannons look absolutely devastating. Now, there's no real new articulation with this, other than right here, which is just a swivel here, a rotation, and a little bend at the foot. And of course, it's the exact same on their side. And of course, the arms are the exact same, just without the waist swivel or the wrist swivel. And yeah, that's basically it for lion mode. Now I will take this cannon off because it's just a pain. Sometimes it's a little tricky. I'll take these weapons off too, so I can get a better look at this when I'm taking it off, just to kind of get it off a little easier. Now for the spaceship mode, which is kind of weak, but it's kind of cool that they did it, because it is a nod to the original. What we're going to do is fold out the wings and bring them completely flush and down. And then we are going to rotate up these legs here, like that. And there's a little tab the toes will just rest right into. And of course, we have to deal with these arms, and all you have to do here is bend them and then fold up that. And there's a little tab right here that's going to go into a little hole right there on the wing, and that will hold all of that in place, the wing and the arm. If I can get this tabbed in right. It's kind of a soft tab. It doesn't like click into place, but it just slowly tabs in, and it does a pretty good job of tabbing in, at least on my copy. Like, it holds pretty good on both sides. This side not as much, but it still holds plenty good enough for just normal play. And now for the last step, we just rotate up the lion head. We can close that jaw now, and you can do whatever you want with the tusks. I just leave them out how I normally would. And you totally could do this in the robot or the lion mode, I think. Actually, no, you probably couldn't, because it would have to face backwards. But there is a little tab right here, and it goes right into that hole, and it would just easily tab in So that's a way easier connection than it is for line mode. And then you can also plug in these side barrel cannons. And just like that, we have his flying mode, which honestly, it's not too bad. The guns and everything kind of make it, and especially with the wings too. It has a silhouette, although it is just a big chunk, but this guy feels nice. Like, the density of this guy is amazing, unlike any other mainline figure. I find this guy to feel better than Starsaber himself. Like, I honestly almost enjoy this figure more in terms of feel. But he is a little less complicated and doesn't look as cool, but his weight is just really nice to feel around for. I do enjoy it. But that's pretty much it for this mode. There is no landing gear. There is no way to set him up. Not that I've figured out yet. There's really no tabs or anything that work with the action base. So that's pretty much it. And of course, if you want to, you can put the effects in and have them blution away, as Emgo likes to say. But yeah, no thrusters really in the back, other than like these tabs right here that you can kind of put them in. But actually, those are screw holes, so never mind. Nothing back there. Thought those were tabs for a second. Anyway, that's it for Leo Prime. Starsaber should be coming tomorrow, the review. And this figure, of course, comes with Starsaber, so I'll do more of my end thoughts later. But that's pretty much it for this review. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my review, and see you guys later. Peace out. Can't knock him over because he's pretty flat.